Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today we're going to be making an attempt at the Olympic Village chocolate muffins made famous by Henrik Christensen, the Norwegian swimmer who adores these chocolate muffins. These chocolate muffins can be found at the Olympic Village in the cafeteria, and Henrik raves about them, has lots of cute TikToks about them, and everybody wants them because they look so stinking delectable. Giant chocolate muffins or individualized servings of cake that have chunks of chocolate, and then it has like a fudgy ganache injection right in the middle. They look fantastic, and I'm gonna attempt to make them at home since I am not an Olympian and I'm not in Paris. But I have to say this has been a great Olympic year, and at night before I go to bed I love to watch the little highlights to see these athletes do wonderful, incredible, awe-inspiring things that I would never be able to do. But it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I really enjoy watching the Olympics. I have fond memories of watching them as a child. And today we're going to be making some chocolate muffins that are inspired by the Olympics. Now, the recipe that I'm going to be using today I found from the Today Show, where they tested 3 different recipes and they said this one was the best one. And it's authored by Cassie Mendieta, and the recipe looks sound. I love that all the measurements are in grams. So I feel that I have the best chance of replicating it. Love that. And she made 12 batches to come up with this recipe. So a lot of recipe testing involved. So love and appreciate. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to swab the decks. We are going to incorporate all of our dry ingredients first. Here is our all-purpose flour. To that, we are going to add our cocoa powder. This has been pre-measured, and this is specifically Dutch processed cocoa powder, unsweetened. Dutch processed is alkalized cocoa, so it's a bit darker in color, and I think has a richer kind of chocolatey flavor. There's also natural cocoa powder, which tends to be a little bit lighter and is more acidic. So some recipes you need that acidic portion to make the recipe work out. So make sure that you have the right kind of cocoa powder. Typically, if it doesn't say Dutch processed or natural cocoa powder, go with the natural. The baking powder, boom, 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 and baking soda. Boom. To make this taste more chocolatey, we're going to add some instant espresso powder. I am using instant coffee. I think we're going to be all right. If you don't have any, you can also admit it. Good amount of salt because these things are going to be sweet. And for sweetener, we're going to be adding light brown sugar. Typically, I add brown sugar with my liquids, but here it seems to be considered a dry milk powder. And this is used in baking, from my understanding, to get a better rise and to make a more tender crust. So in here, I've got some vegetable oil, some pre-measured whole milk, and 2 eggs. Thank you, hens, for laying such beautiful eggs. Mixy, mixy. My kids love this part. We're gonna add some sour cream. Now this is going to be nice and rich, but this is also acidic and will react to the baking powder and baking soda to make our muffins fluffy. My container is dangerously almost too small. Now we're just gonna make a well and add our liquid. So we're just gonna mix this. We don't wanna overmix it because we don't want it to be tough. Now we're going to add our chunks. I have a combination of chopped milk chocolate down here and dark chocolate. It's in this jar because I already weighed it. Look at that. That already looks gorgeous. I mean, these are not muffins. These are not, come on now. Okay, so now we're supposed to let this batter rest for a half an hour. And my understanding is that that's gonna allow the sour cream and the baking powder to react. So we get lots of bubbles so that our muffins are nice and light. Alrighty, so the original muffins in the Olympic Village come in these beautiful unbleached parchment paper wrappers. I believe these are called tulip paper liners because they look kind of like those fancy tulips. And you can purchase these, or you can do what I did and make them yourself. You can even use regular old muffin liners if that's what you have. It just won't look as the Olympic Village ones do, but they will taste delicious. So I watched a little tutorial on how to do this on YouTube, and I'll put a link down below to the original. First, you need a 6-inch square of parchment paper. Fold it in half again, and then fold it into a triangle. Okay, now I'm going to open it up. I went ahead and did this extra step where I fold everything again in one direction so that the creases are going in the direction I want. If I use origami parlance, I'm making all of these folds into mountain folds. You see that? They're all pointing down. This point in the middle of the glass like this, and then you pinch each one of these and fold them down. Pinch, then fold it in the same direction. To the right or to the left, it doesn't matter, as long as they're all going in the same direction. Kind of like when you are folding up an umbrella neatly, you know how all the pleats should go in the same direction so that it rolls up nicely? You know what I'm talking about? I hope you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so now that it's pre-folded, I can just kind of squeeze all the way around and push down. And that really kind of gives it a good crease. And then ta-da, you got your little cup. A beautiful tulip paper liner made by yourself. It's not just for aesthetic purposes, it also allows you to make a bigger muffin because the muffin tin is only this tall and you can only fill it to about, they usually say halfway or 2/3. If you make it taller, it's fine, you'll get a muffin top. It'll mound over and you'll get a little bit of an edge. But if you use a tulip liner, it allows the batter to go up higher so you can get a bigger muffin. And it's like a nice kind of conical shape. The recipe recommends filling them up about 150 grams. Like, I love how specific that is. So here is my vintage disher. I like using these to make giant cookies. So I'm gonna do 1 scoop and see how much that weighs. Trying to aim and get it in the middle. Whoa, these are gonna be big muffins. 1 scoop for me was 71. So that's like half. So 2 of these are gonna be big muffins. Wow, I think that's about all I can do. We're gonna bake these at a pretty hot oven, 420 degrees, just for 6 minutes. Then we're gonna reduce the temperature down to 350, do not open it, and then bake for an additional 15 to 18 minutes, or until the internal temperature is 200 to 205 degrees Fahrenheit, or when a toothpick inserted comes out with a few moist crumbs. Then we know our muffins are finished. And while those are baking, we're gonna make our beautiful filling. All right, lovelies, now we are going to make the filling. So in my saucepan, we're going to add our water, but I'm gonna be doing it by weight. To the water, we're going to add sugar. A little less than half a cup, I think. Some more cocoa powder, about 4 tablespoons. Corn syrup. Salt is very important when making desserts and sweets. It balances things out. First, we're gonna bring it to a boil. Once we get to a boil, we're gonna reduce it down to medium-low and simmer it down till it's about 1/3 of the volume. And then we're gonna add our cream and then boil it for 2 more minutes. And we're gonna pour this right over our dark chocolate chips. Let it sit there for just a second so that the chocolate gets warmed up. And we're gonna mix that all together until the chocolate's completely melted. That's a lot of chocolate. And that, my friends, will be our filling. We're gonna let that cool before we stuff it into our muffins. Alrighty, my lovelies, I am back with my completely cooled muffins and my completely cooled ganache filling. This is actually not technically a ganache, it just reminds me of it. So I got 9 cooled muffins. They are massive. I am so pleased with how they turned out. Look how puffed they are. Dark, beautiful color. They completely filled up the wrapper. Nice doming on top. One thing though, I did have to add some extra time to the baking time because these puffed up so much. There wasn't a lot of hot air circulation around the muffins as they were baking. So make sure you do your little toothpick check to see if your muffins are done. When they come out mostly clean, then take them out of the oven. Now we are ready to fill. So according to Cassie's research, these muffins are made off-site and ahead of time, and then they are frozen and thawed before being served. And she says that this will actually taste even better after it's been frozen and thawed. And she found that out by accident after testing lots of batches of muffins. She froze them herself and thawed it, and she's like, yes, that's the way to go. So I'm gonna taste one fresh. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, then I'm gonna taste one frozen. Look how it inflates. Oh my gosh, boom. Oh, who comes up with these genius ideas? And it's a rhetorical question. Don't need an answer to that. Boom. Oh. Oof. Plunge. Inflate. Yeah. Alrighty, my lovelies, we're finally going to give our Olympic Village chocolate muffins a taste. The DIY version, but these look amazing. Look. Absolutely all I could have asked for. Filled the cup. Generous muffin. Look at that gorgeous, shiny chocolate filling oozing out of the top. Fantastic. Smells incredible, chocolatey, vanilla. Sweet. Look, it's so good. All right, let's taste it. Peel this open. Look, peels beautifully because we used parchment paper. Look at the size of this muffin. That's huge. Oh my gosh, just yeah. That looks fantastic. So dark. Look at that. Okay, let's give it a taste. Happy Paris 2024 Olympics. Itadakimasu. Hit it out of the park, Cassie. The cake is super moist and chocolatey and just decadently lovely. It's fluffy, yet dense, but not dense like a brownie. Definitely like a cake. This is cake. This is not a muffin. It's in a muffin shape, but it's cake. The filling is fantastic. It's smooth and luscious, rich, and lends a huge injection of dark chocolate flavor to a cake that's already full of chocolatiness. The chunks of chocolate that we added to the batter have become part of the cake. I just got a milk chocolate chunk, which has a slightly different consistency. It's creamy, it's sweet, and chocolatey. Oh, so stinking good. These are celebration worthy. I would definitely make this recipe again. So stinking good. One of the best chocolate cake recipes I've had. I think the salt works really well in here, really well balances all that chocolatiness, the richness. I can taste a little bit of the coffee in there. Highly recommend this recipe. And it's really not that much work to make once you kind of organize everything together. This is a little bit too much for me. Half of this is perfect, but the presentation, darlings, so cute. So I'm gonna test out the freezer method Cassie recommends. It's supposed to taste even better. I don't know. I'm skeptical because this is gonna be hard to beat. It has been a full 24 hours since I made my Olympic Village chocolate muffins. Let me unwrap it for you to show you the difference in how it looks. Can't say that there's that much of a difference in terms of aesthetic appearance, although the little swishy kind of got squashed with the plastic wrap. So maybe I could have done a better job at preserving that, but smells great still. Frozen, thawed, Olympic Village chocolate cupcake. Itadakimasu. All right, Cassie's totally right. 100%. It's worth it. Look at those teeth marks. So that filling turns fudgier and gets thicker, and the flavors, I feel, of the cake intensify. I don't know how much that has to do with the freezing part. Maybe it's simply a matter of 24 hours, but decadent, even more rich and delicious than it was yesterday. I think this might be the best chocolate cake I've ever had. It kind of goes without saying, but you have to really love chocolate to love this recipe, because it's just chock full of it. If you don't like chocolate, you probably won't like this, but if you love chocolate like me, you'll love this recipe. Alrighty, my lovelies, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the Summer Olympics as much as I did. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! I should do the chocolate thing that Henrik did. Like this. I just dip my face into the cupcake.